Great to hear. Much appreciated. So next up, we have Andrea Parker and Dennis Wagner. They're here to talk about the Hult Center, so I will turn the floor over to them.
Good morning. Am I on? I'm one of those speakers who probably doesn't need this, but since I have it, I'll use it. Good morning. First of all, I'd like to commend your emergency preparedness as a former nurse and a public health emergency preparedness person. Outstanding job of letting us know what we're supposed to do when. So a great commanding spot for yourself. I'm Andrea Parker, the new executive director for the Hult Center. I started in March this year. And if those of you who aren't familiar with Hult, first I'd like to tell you a little bit about Hult, our 4 focus areas, what United Way does for us, and then close with Mr. Wagner giving his story of how he works with the Hult Center, or the Hult Center works with Mr. Wagner for those funds. Hult was birthed 25 years ago is our anniversary this year. Those of you who are familiar with Hult, we're located on the Proctor campus, North Knoxville. We have been in business since 1990. Traditionally, Hult opened their doors to do health education and prevention for students. Those of you who probably have children, grandchildren, maybe even some of yourselves have been there in the last 25 years as children or parents, or however volunteers. But we really have the focus of health education and prevention, helping students make those healthy decision behaviors for exercise, food, and just overall healthy behavior choices is what we have traditionally done for the years. Those programs, we hold 6 grants from the United Way, all which were increased this year, as well as a brand new program that starts with youth mental health that we do with the Peoria District 150. So all of our programs from preschool to high school are where we spend the bulk of our health education time. And then we go into the schools actually come into us, and as you know, as funding gets cut, arts and health are the first 2 things that go. So we're actually some of the health education programs for within 50 miles of us of school programs who've cut those funds, who've cut those funds for their students as well. So those children come in and do hands-on, we give them seeds to plant things at home. We do a lot of nutrition and health education. We actually have 5 theater rooms in our Hult Center, so we welcome tours. So if you'd like to come through, we're not a place where you can come and spend the day to hang out, to do things. Most of it is all scheduled, but we do tours so people can actually see, and we're actually trying to think about opening our theater classroom to our senior programs so that our funders and people who know what we do can actually see what we do and have a hands-on opportunity at the Hult Center. So we have 4 pillars. We were actually kind of invented. Dr. Stephen Bash, who is a cardiologist, pediatrics here in town, and his wife Patty came from Indiana in the late 90s or the mid 80s. And they brought over, they had a center in Indianapolis or somewhere, Terre Haute, Indiana, that did something similar. And they thought they would try this in Peoria. So basically, we were funded originally with all donation funds. And actually, currently today, donations, funds, United Way funding, and other private donors is all the income that we receive. We do no revenue, and all of our services are free to charge, or at charge. We don't charge for anything that we actually do. The smallest we do charge is our students that come from the schools are about $2 a student. So you can imagine that's not a lot of income for the students that we see. Over double digits, thousands of children come through the doors every year. So when they did that, we started with our programs. The Healthy Heroes program is one of our largest when we talk about how in with volunteer opportunities for people. Healthy Heroes is one of the grants that the United Way funds, and it really goes from May, June, and July. We hit Tuesday through Thursday pretty hard, from preschool to high school. You can imagine all day long, that's all we do, one bus after the other for the entire summer. If you want to get some up your game attitude, come join us for the summer. If you get on the floor, grow some things, plant some things, eat food you've never seen, and help children actually do some experiences they've never done before too, is a great experience. We really target the low risk or the high risk students in those areas, the low income, high risk students, so that they have the same opportunities of achievement. They sometimes get to do things that they don't maybe get to do in their own school districts or make those healthy decisions. They don't have people in their family who are maybe focused on health, focused on education, and we fill in that need and supplement those helping with those values and those decisions that those children make. As I said, Hult has 4 pillars. You're most familiar with the health education, pre-K through 12th grade. We added, for those of you who are unfamiliar, years ago, for those of you from Peoria, the community, it used to be the Illinois Valley Mental Health Association closed their doors about 3 to 4 years ago. That board joined the Hult board. The Hult board is 28 members of volunteer people for an advisory board. So those who were actually doing Illinois Valley Mental Health Association, the crisis line, and some of those issues that address mental illness have now joined the Hult Center within the last 3 years. The third pillar that joined us is the Illinois Cancer Care Centers, which Mr. Wagner will talk about. Illinois Cancer Care Centers used to also be a board, United Way funded, that was not successful on their own, no disrespect to them, but they also joined Hult. They were actually already on the campus, and that part of the cancer programs actually does the palliative services for those with cancer, those survivors of cancer, or those who are giving caregiving services to those with cancer or survivors. All those services are at no charge. So what they do at the Hult Center are all massage therapy, reflexology, water therapy, meditation, aromatherapy, you name it. They like to touch and mold you and make you smell things that make you feel good. They do all the things to make cancer patients who are actually struggling with maybe trouble with their taste, trouble with their digestion, any of those processes that mess up during the cancer process, as Mr. Wagner will allude to later. So those are, again, all free services. We do most of those, if not all of them, on campus for the cancer programs. And then our fourth pillar that joined us as of January 2015 is the Encore program. It is our senior focus program that does senior health. So, and it's funny because I joined into a staff who are, I feel like I joined the sorority group. My staff is about 28 to 30 years old. There's about 10 of them. They are the motivators for me, I have to say, for one. But actually, when we invented the Encore program, it's senior services, so it starts about 55. They realize and they make comments about how old the 55 generation. I remind them, that's us people, that is us. So they made the comment the other day, we're thinking about lowering the age because we think people are older, younger, or however they said that. I said, okay, what are we thinking? So we're thinking 50. Is it going to be our senior adult focus program? So those of us who are 50 and above, we're excited that we're going to now be in our senior programs, which again, so you can sign up for all of our senior programs. I'm kind of excited myself. So basically what those services are, we have a group, we do a breakfast club, again, no cost. We do all health education. We actually do, one of our largest attended is iPad and cell phone training class. So you can imagine the audience for that is usually 30 to 40 people who come regularly to learn how to turn on their iPad, work it with their iPhone, sync it with something, and use it regularly. So that is really one of our most favorite programs for the senior health program. And then we bring in speakers so the seniors can learn about their health needs as well, ask them questions. We do medication management, just some basic senior focus programs as well. Those are the programs of Hult. 6 of our grants, I said, are funded through United Way. Our newest fund will be Youth Mental Health, which was a brand new program that was funded this year. And going through the United Way process for funding is very rigorous. As I said, I joined in March. 7 days later, I was sitting in front of the deciding committee of the United Way of how much money you actually get. So you have to be able to tell your programs, get some demonstrations, some metrics, talk about what you're going to do, and really convince them to give you money, which is really a big deal. It's extremely brutal, I should say, Dominic. It's a little brutal. But we did really well. We had increases in all our programs. So our youth mental health program is our last. That was funded as a brand new program with United Way, and it will actually take us into District 150. As you know, District 150 has a lot of needs, and we are a strong partner with 150 to go in to help those students make some healthy decisions, some behavioral health issues, and help identify kids who are at risk, need help, and how do we make a relationship with them in case they don't have one already established. So we're actually just starting that this September with 150, and we'll be really excited about that. Volunteer opportunities. Every program has volunteer opportunities. As I said, our income is actually no revenue sources because we don't really bill for anything, none of our services. So in the kids program, you can volunteer doing activities to Healthy Heroes programs. You can come into Hult, Fold. You can imagine the mailings that we do as a non-for-profit because we're trying to attract other people. I didn't bring entirely half of enough brochures, but get online at www.hulthealthy.org. That way we don't spend all the money making more brochures. So you can just get online and look at all the activities and look at things that we put out there as well. So the youth programs have volunteers for everything. You can come into the building and help volunteer. Our grounds and our building keeping, we just had a Caterpillar group last week help us mulch, make sure our grounds look really, really pretty because it makes a difference if you like pretty grounds. And let's see what else. We have the The senior program, the volunteers come in and help with the health fair. We do our health fair once a year. We'll see about 400 people through our health fair. We have booths that just do adult health, senior focused things, so you can help make healthy decisions as an adult as well. And then our last program, the cancer programs, as adults, as volunteers come in and help us do services. There's mailings and things like that we do for services. And then actually the other large source of us for funding is actually our events. We do 4 major events a year where we use volunteers to help us do our mailings, do our rosters, do our volunteer services. Like for instance, we'll do a large fundraiser at the end of the month out on the Weaver Farms. We set up the tents and do our lobster broil, as you're probably familiar with, we've done for the last 17 years. So the volunteers, actually, we have the ICC ball teams and the Bradley ball teams coming, helping us clean up, serve, tear down, set up, whatever it is. That's where we have our volunteer needs as well. So to close with, I'd like to welcome Mr. Wagner to the stage. We put out a kind of a request. He said we probably asked hundreds, and he was the only person that responded. That is not true. So he's going to share with you how the United Way dollars help the program for the cancer programs that he actually has used, our cancer programs, and we just made a great relationship just today. So thank you for your time, and I'll stay for questions when Mr. Wagner has completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if you can hear me, I'm not a professional speaker, okay? I am a truck driver for G&D Integrated. 2 years ago, I didn't know about the whole program. 2 years ago, August, I was diagnosed with throat cancer. I had a tumor on my right tonsil. Took it out in August of 2013. The right side had a tumor. Removed the tumor. Okay. The doctor says, I said, what's next? He goes, you have stage 3 plus 1. Stage 3, it's not good. What's plus 1? It's in your lymph nodes. What's your odds of surviving? What's the cure rate? 50 to 60%. That was August, September of 13. What's my plans? Still don't know anything about the Hult Center. They said you're going to need 37 rounds of radiation. You're going to need 2 trips, 3 chemo rounds, 6 hours apiece. You're going to need a feeding tube. You're going to need a medical port. Okay, I'm a truck driver. I've been on a road trip before. We're going to get ready. You make a plan, right? Got it all set up. Starting November 11th. Oh, plus it removed 80% of my teeth because it didn't need infection. We get ready to start it. November 11th, I go. Radiation. Go to the chemo. Great. Still don't know nothing about the Hult Center, kind of. 6 hours of chemo on November 11th, 2013. Now I hear the Hult Center comes through. Her name's Sharon Windsor. I'm with the Hult Center. I'm here to help you, Dennis. And the Cancer Center on 91 out there is full of people. You can fill this room every day with people with cancer. So I'm not the only one. So the Hult Center's out there. So no, I'm okay. I'll be fine. The next morning, I wake up and I have had the chemo for 12 hours. I'm sick. My life's turned upside down. Can't eat, can't drink. It's a nightmare, but I have to go through radiation. I go through radiation, I go back to the Cancer Center, more IVs. And there's Sharon. She shows up, Dennis, I can help you. I said, I'm okay. A couple more days go by, I'm really feeling bad. I mean, I am sick, and I finally told my wife, it's about 10 days. No food, no water, just sipping. Yeah, it's bad. I got a feeding tube, but I don't know how to use it. I said, I need help now. I need to eat. Back to the Cancer Center, get an IV. My doctor calls Sharon. She comes up, says, I can help you, Dennis. This is hard. Down to her office. Open the feeding tube. She says, you're not leaving until I feed you. Simple. Protein, everything. I'm thinking, man, I finally got some help. It doesn't just take 30 minutes. She takes time. Gets on the phone, orders my food. She says, Dennis, you need this many calories, this much protein per day because the cancer's eating you alive. The chemo, the radiation. This all happened 2 days before Thanksgiving. Within 3 days, I had 12 cases of food. I need protein. This is what the Hult Center is helping me to understand. I'm a truck driver. I'm not a doctor. And they all work with me over and over. And I need the protein to fill it. So I do the 37 rounds of radiation. I do 3 rounds of chemo. I've had 2 blood transfusions. I lost 50 pounds. I weighed 210. January, 1st of January, I said, my God, you know, even had a handicap sticker to park because I had to get medicine all the time. I said, this got to get better. This is getting worse. So they said, okay, now we're in the middle of January, and I'm feeling really bad. But I got my feeding tube, and I got my medicine. I'm at the cancer center, and I'm seeing Mrs. Parker, or Sharon. Like I said, I'm not a professional speaker. But it's a hell of a road trip. And so you think, oh, this got to be getting over with. Well, they're going to take a PET scan. 3 months. April comes along. Take the test. Inconclusive. I said, inconclusive? And what do? I walk out of my cancer doctor's office, and I'm mad. I go to the car, left my wife there. I'm a truck driver. I still have cancer. I have to tell the story, so let me fumble through this, because the Hult Center just saved me. So then she tells me, wife comes out and says, don't ever walk out on a doctor again. I said, I know, it didn't help. Still have cancer. So now they say, we're going to go in your neck, and we're going to take a biopsy. Stick 5 needles in my neck 5 times they poke. Still inconclusive. They can't tell me if they got the cancer. And I'm thinking, okay, still using the feeding tube. It's April. I get released, go back to work to drive a truck. And I'm finally somewhere in the meantime, I am using morphine through my feeding tube. You know, they're teaching me this. I'm a truck driver. I'm not, you know, I was 210 when I started. I'm down to 162 pounds. I go back to work, feeding tube, like I say, did a biopsy, it doesn't work. So then they say, okay, we're going to cut your neck open. We're going to take your lymph nodes out because we're going to see if you're cancer-free. So we go in there, May 20th, May 19th, cuts me open. I'm Methodist Hospital, and I wake up, and like I say, I'm a truck driver, so I'm so mad. And they're like, mad? I wake up, I got a catheter. I've been through all this, and I got a catheter. There's a reason for me to say this today. Kurt comes in May 20th, removes it. I said, Kurt, we're getting personal, and I'm mad. Doctor walks in, the surgeon walks in. I'm mad at the doctor, and he's the reason why I don't want your bladder to explode. Okay, all right. He says, I got good news for you. I listened to half of that. What the hell good news could you have now? I've been through hell. He goes, you're cancer-free. The 3rd floor on Methodist could hear me. Excuse me, I'm not done yet. I have to finish this. I lost half my saliva glands. I can only taste half the food. Can't call the wife. That's not the phone call you make. You have to wait for her to come, tell her in person. I wait 20, 30 minutes to tell her, we're so happy. We're so happy. And you're thinking, well, that's the end of your road trip. No, that's not the end of my road trip. I got a call 3 weeks ago from Sharon, asked me if I'd come here speak today. And I owe that to the Hult Center. I've thanked 4 people. Well, I've thanked 3. I've thanked my surgeon, my chemo doctor, my radiation doctor. And today I thank the Hult Center. Saved my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. I did really kind of not explain the other part of the cancer programs outside the palliative services is I have 2 registered dietitians and a LCPC, a licensed social worker person. They are actually housed at the Route 91 Cancer Care Center out on Route 91. So they see all the patients, again, at no charge, no cost, and they work with Dennis as well as everybody who has those issues. So whatever it is, they're on site. As he said, if you go out to the cancer center, have the opportunity to go with family, or if you're self-stricken with cancer, we are there every day, and the staff is on call 24/7 for those patients as well, again, as funding we get from the United Way to help fund those positions to do those services as well, because no one else has the time. I mean, they have nurse practitioners as well as the physicians, but everybody knows that visit from the doctor's office is more of a 9 to 5 type of deal. You have some issues after hours in between, all day long, swallowing issues, dietary, whatever they are, our staff actually pick those up again for dollars that we receive from the United Way. So I appreciate Mr. Wagner spending some time with me today. I learned to appreciate all of our programs that we do. We've been more kid-focused, and now we're more adult-centered, so we're going to be from birth to, as we're joining the senior end, as my staff reminds me, that end for all of us. So I appreciate the time. This has been the largest group we've done. I appreciate Hult being invited to share what we do, because so many people think we're just health education, little people, and you can see from Mr. Wagner's testimony today, we are more than just education. We're all health, and that's why we're the Hult Center for Healthy Living. Thank you.